Hello and welcome everybody to the next installment of Alice in Egypt. Today's title is To Sleep, Perchance to Dream. We ended the last episode with you telling Dottie that the aim is not to think anymore. And then you passed out because due to unforeseen occurrences of the supernatural kind, Alice wrote a letter to Matthew and then decided to drink whiskey, but she didn't stop at the one.
And
she took a whole bottle.
Yeah, she took the bottle.
And she drank maybe not the whole bottle, but she drank a lot. And this time round, because she hadn't had the most important meal of the day, it was just nibbling on some piece of toast. And she had not been sleeping very well because she had been having nightmares in which Dottie dies, in which Dottie is already dead.
Mm-hmm.
And everything was kind of terrible. She had also been taking, she had at least taken one dose of opium the previous day, the day before the previous day. So yeah, it was all terrible. And not only did you get drunk, but you also passed out and you threw up. But Dottie found you in time, which was good. You were lucky.
Yes.
And then she put you to bed and then you just passed out. And now your subconscious wakes up. It's like a fish in a frozen pond at the very bottom when it's not frozen and in the dead of winter. And the only thing that your subconscious is doing at the moment, it's probing your five senses. There is no mind. There are no emotions. It's just the most primitive part of your brain that makes sure that you breathe, that your temperature stays stable. The one that we all need to barely just survive. And it's probing your senses. And the first sense it probes is naturally the sense of smell, because the sense of smell is the sense that has the most direct link to our brain. And you smell the starch of bed linen. You smell the fragrance of the perfume that you wear because you brought it to your place of abode. It's sitting on your vanity. You also smell the fragrance that you have transferred from wearing makeup, from wearing your perfume to your bed sheet. The next, it probes your eyes, and your eyes are closed and it's all black. So through your eyelids, you don't see any light. So it's really dark. It's black. It's not red. So you're lying in complete darkness. Next, it probes your ears. It probes your hearing. And it's dead silent. The only thing you hear is the breathing of another person. Very regular, in and out, slow. And lastly, it probes the biggest organ that you have. That's your skin. And it tests what you're feeling. And you feel you're lying down. It's soft. It's warm. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. And you feel very slowly the ebb and flow of another person breathing. You're kind of leaning against someone who is obviously sleeping and breathing in and out. You feel their chest expand and contract. And your subconscious essentially tells everyone to just go back to sleep, and you fall unconscious again. Time passes, but you are completely oblivious to everything. Next time, your subconscious again rises like the fish trying to see, has the pond unfrozen. And it sees that the pond has unfrozen, and it kicks into action your emotions and your mind. You're in complete control of yourself. What do you do?
Carefully open one eye, probably, to have a peek around, just to confirm where I think I am.
Okay.
And to confirm that maybe Dottie at least was there, not sure is there, depending on time of day.
So First of all, you notice that you see light through your closed eyes. You open one eye and you see you're lying on your side. So it's you see you see a little white mountain. It's your bed sheet.
Okay.
And when you basically then engage your other senses, you can hear someone breathing very regularly, and again you still feel their chest expand and contract.
I'll probably not move too much. I will more listen in. Does the breathing sound more like someone sleeping? Or someone just sitting there? Because your breathing is getting lower and more calm when you sleep usually.
It's someone sleeping, and the ebb and flow of the chest is very regular, but also very slow.
I think honestly Alice would then close her eyes and try to get to sleep again.
You close your eyes and you tell your subconscious that yes, the pond has unfrozen, but it's not yet time. And your subconscious tells everyone to shut down again, and you go to sleep.
Good.
And then again, you have no idea how much time has passed. Your subconscious stirs again.
It would be the same procedure. It just says heads up. If the next storm comes in, I need to close my windows.
I actually can't hear anything yet, so it's
I'm hearing thunder. So.
Yeah, I can hear it. I can hear it through there.
Yeah, so it's like, what's happening? She would peek again. Oh no, this time she would. I think she would just peek if it's still light or if it's dark.
It's getting dark now again.
And she would then more or less listen or feel in if Dottie's still there.
Dottie's still there, but her breathing is different now. She's probably awake.
Then she would start moving as well. Just slowly, like... And would carefully close both, open one eye after the other, just as you do when you slept. It's taking a little bit until you can see clearly.
You see clearly. You see. Somehow, I think that the beds that she has, Lady Jane has, have canopies. For some reason, I think they have canopies. So you see the canopy over your bed, and out of the corner of your eye, you can actually see Dottie. And she has noticed that you have moved, and she's tilting her head and looking at you.
How does my head feel? Probably not good.
You have probably spent 20... the whole thing went down at around 11 o'clock in the morning. Then it was dark, so 11 o'clock at night. So it's probably... And now it's getting dark again. You've been in bed for about 40 hours maybe. You feel one thing, and that is you're incredibly thirsty. And your head is in pain.
I think her reaction would be just to, like, put her hand to her head and would look around if she can see a glass of water or anything like that.
Dottie moves a little bit and she says, "How are you feeling?"
Horrible.
You need to drink.
Yes, please.
Hold on. And she she sits up. And then she reaches over where there is a carafe of water, or so you assume, and you hear her pour a drink, and she basically then puts one hand behind your head and she helps you tilt it, because at the moment when you move, your head spins, the broom spins, and she helps you drink.
Okay.
Slowly. Slowly.
The slowly is not Alice's.
No, she will actually make sure that you drink slowly.
Okay. I think after drinking a little bit, Alice would try to sit up properly. Probably too quick. And then
the whole
feeling
room spins.
But just trying to get it together. And I'm quite sure she is hesitant to look at Dottie. She's definitely like she's feeling horrible towards Dottie on what she did. Not so much herself. She's not sorry for herself. She's more sorry that Dottie is going through this, especially since she actually promised Dottie that drinking is not the thing. But yeah. I think she will be silent for quite a while. And then just mutter, that was maybe a little too much.
Probably.
Maybe I should just drink a little bit more water and go back to bed.
Mm-hmm. She offers you more water. She watches as you drink, and she makes sure you don't drink too quickly.
The other thing, I'm after this time, even though she's feeling horrible, I could imagine that she still maybe feels hungry.
Yeah,
because she's been quite a while without food.
Dottie then says, "Try this," and she hands you a slice of cucumber, peeled. Try this.
Cucumber?
Go on.
Why?
Try it. Try it.
Alice is worried just like me, because that would be something I would throw up on if that would be the first thing I eat on an empty stomach. But she will nibble on a cucumber.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, first of all, the cucumber, because it's 90% water.
Yeah.
Secondly, she has drizzled some salt on it.
Okay.
Because you are dehydrated, but what you're missing most of all is salt.
Could I maybe just have it? No, forget it. I would just
Tell
go to
me.
sleep.
Tell me, what is it?
There's a piece of toast with a bit of butter and a little bit of salt.
Of course.
But it's already late. I can have that tomorrow morning.
No. She gets up. She goes out. She doesn't even say don't move or stay or anything. She goes out.
She knows that Alice will not move too much.
And this is gonna take a while because she needs to go to the other house, to the other building where the kitchen area is. And seeing as it's evening, she may actually have to prepare this herself. So, and that's gonna take, because it's not her kitchen. So she comes back about 20 minutes later. During those 20 minutes, what do you do? Do you walk around? Do you try to get up? Do you do anything?
She will try to just sit and see that she's not feeling too nauseous. And I think she will be quite brutally staring into nothingness and just having her mind wander again on the what to do.
Okay. So Dottie does come back. She has several slices of toast. She has butter. She has salt. And she sits down on the bed and she hands you your first piece of toast. Put some butter on it. It's toasted. And then she puts some salt on it, and then she hands it to you and watches you.
Well, Alice will try to munch through it and hopes that her stomach goes along with it.
What's your con?
59.
It's not going down. But Dottie's there. She helps you and she says, maybe without the butter.
I think I should just sleep. My stomach will
Have
survive with another.
Have some more water, though.
She will drink a bit more water. And then probably curl up. And close her eyes and try to go to sleep.
Mm-hmm. You curl up and the fish comes back, and the fish notices one thing immediately. Dottie's not leaving. Dottie's actually just staying there.
Alice will not even fight her, because Alice would do exactly the same. So she's just like, okay, her decision, and would glide into sleep if nothing else keeps her from it.
Yeah, and you glide into sleep. Sometime later, whenever, the little fish comes back, looks around. It knows the pond is no longer frozen. Do you want to wake up?
Yeah, Alice would at least wake up a little, peek. Main idea again is just realizing, is it still dark outside, or is it...
Now it is dark,
Now it's
because
dark.
when in the last phase it was kind of getting dark already. It's now dark.
Then she would just try to get back to sleep. So her idea is to sleep until basically the morning, and then see how she can get herself together to move, get up, get dressed, and try to get food inside and keep it inside.
You go to sleep again. The little fish comes back. Your subconscious tells you your eyes are seeing light.
Okay. Then she would wake up slowly, yawning, trying to stretch and see how she feels.
The head is better, but you feel like you've eaten straw. You are completely parched. Dottie is there, obviously. She was probably lying there all along. And she says, "Summer water?"
Good morning, yes, please.
And she offers you water. She helps you again, holds you.
No,
so
she
you
doesn't
don't
need to.
choke on
First
it.
of all, Alice would make sure that she sits up properly, that she can drink on her own. So that would be the first thing, just sitting up. Probably trying to sit up like a little bit like cross-legged, just really sitting and just seeing how it is. But I think after now, then we are around 3 days. I think she should at least function in that way again, halfway.
Yeah.
And she will drink, and she will try to restrain herself to not like bulk it, but really bit by bit to drink it.
Are you looking at Dottie now?
No. And I think she would put down the glass on her side table, and she would swing her legs around to sit basically at the edge of the bed and carefully tries to get up.
Make a constitution roll.
Already scared. A success!
Excellent.
Close. I rolled a 57, but it's a success. So it's a bit wobbly, but...
Okay.
She's standing. I think fresh air and some food might be the best way to start. I'm sorry, you have to be up for basically, I don't know, 2 days, 3 days now? And she would now look at Dottie.
I wasn't up, I was sleeping.
Okay. Then Alice would carefully walk over, or make her way over to where her morning gown is basically hanging. And throwing that over. And then she would walk towards where we were eating. It was inside, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But there was an outside area, if I can remember correctly, wasn't there?
There is a really beautiful garden.
Yeah, she would take a walk towards the garden. I'm not sure if Dottie would follow or not, but Alice would make her way to the garden for sure, to get a little bit fresh air, sunshine in the face.
Let me just check something. Dottie is following you.
Mm-hmm.
And you sit down. I mean, there's like, you know, a really lovely area where you can sit. There are nice deck chairs. You know, there's a table there as well. So Dottie follows you, and then she watches you sit down. Do you look at her?
Probably in between. Yes, she would.
She looks very hurt.
Definitely lets Alice feel even worse. Although it's not really surprising to Alice. And Alice would say nothing. She would probably just really try to just maybe even close her eyes, just take a deep breath and just try to feel halfway together. Mm-hmm. Which she's obviously not.
Well, I mean, you are completely dehydrated and you have not eaten in 3 days. So, yes, you're not feeling well, but I mean, you did have alcohol poisoning because that's basically what happened, so that's gone.
Yeah, that's definitely gone. Next to her body, her mind definitely is still in scrambles. It's still... I think every time she's awake, she ends again in the discussion with herself what to do. Do we go to look for her? Do we try this? Don't. I think this is the circle that she's in, and she's kind of stuck in there because she still can't find a good way out. Mm-hmm. And she's also just scared about... I think she quite knows the decision will be we will try to save it, to save her, because, or at least to see if we can save her, because just leaving it be, Alice will know that will haunt her much longer than trying it. But she's scared. Mm-hmm. So I think Alice would sit for a while in the sun. She would just have eyes closed and she would try to avoid to talk to Dottie.
You hear footsteps. Dottie leaves.
Okay. I think Alice will try to sit a little longer. And then slowly gets up and will make her way towards probably the kitchen.
Mm-hmm. So that's the different building also where the Mm-hmm.
Although no, she would first go in her room, freshen up a little bit and get proper clothing on.
Mm-hmm.
And then she would go towards the kitchen to see if she can get... Oh, in her room she would drink more water, because I suspect the carafe with the water, it's still there. So she would drink a bit more water. And then she would move towards the kitchen to see if she can get some food that she can keep inside.
You show up in the kitchen. There are some people who work there, the cook, and she says, "Oh, madam,
I was just
what can I do
curious
for you?
If you would have a little bit of bread."
Of course.
Thank you.
What else?
That's it.
Toasted?
That would be lovely.
She toasts the bread for you, and she hands you a plate with bread.
She will happily take it, and then she will make her way again toward, I think, the garden again, exactly where she said, just to plonk herself there again. She would grab a glass of water with it, and then she would sit there and slowly chew on a little bit of bread, and a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more.
Yeah, it's staying down.
And when she finished, she will sit there a little longer, and then she will bring the plate back to the kitchen with a big thank you. And then she will probably take a deep breath to straighten herself a little bit and go to look for Dottie.
Where do you go and look for her?
Either, yeah, it's a good question. First, probably her room where she's staying. Knocking on doors, seeing if she is there.
You knock on the door and you hear her voice saying, "Come."
I will just peek my head in. You're still willing to try this?
This is what you're telling me.
Yes. Well, I will look for Lady Jane and will ask her for the help she offered. I want to find out if we can save Linda.
Linda.
Okay. After the long break, my brain was like, who are we trying to save? And Alice will just pull her head out again and close the door. Not with a slam, very gently close the door, and will turn around and see if she can find Lady Jane.
You look for Lady Jane. You run into a servant, and she informs you that Lady Jane has gone to Cairo for the day. She will not be back until after dark.
Okay. Then I would peek into the kitchen again and would just ask if in a little bit she could have something light to eat. Maybe something a little bit more nutritious than bread, but something light. If the kitchen could just, whatever they have.
Would you like some broth?
Yes, that sounds good.
No problem, madam.
And she will just grab probably her notebook from her room, and she would just plonk her butt in a chair in the dining room.
Okay. Yeah, at some point, about half an hour later, somebody comes with a bowl and a smaller bowl and a plate and spoons and bread, of course, a bread basket, and serves you chicken broth.
Alice will give a smile and thank you, and she will very slowly eat the broth, also in between a little bit of bread, and in between scribbling a few ideas and notes in her notebook. And she will wait and see, and probably be sitting there for a while. So she will take her time, even if the broth is then not really hot anymore, but she will take her time. And when she's done eating, she would probably grab a book and stay seated around the area where, I don't know, it would be like a lounge living room, kind of whatever, where it would be suited to. Or even the garden, if it would be the afternoon now, right? So
It's now time passes, so it's basically now 3 o'clock.
Yeah, then she would go outside in the garden with a book and would just read. I'm quite sure she you can see her tempted to walk towards the liquor cabinet, but taking a little turn and deciding to pass it, at least for now. Because the logical part of her brain definitely tells her that she first needs to be sure that she can eat properly again and everything before she touches alcohol. Although she really wants to. She's really in the point, like, that might make life a little better, because she is in a very shitty position at the moment. But she will sit in the garden, she will read, and she will try to distract herself with reading. So she would probably have grabbed a crime book or something like that and would be reading. And sitting there until it's getting evening, if no one shows up.
Nobody shows up. It's now around 6 o'clock. You see one of the servants laying the table, but just for one.
Then, I suspect it's for her. So whenever dinner is ready, she will sit down.
Yeah, at some point they serve dinner. And then you have dinner.
I suspect dinner goes down well, so she shouldn't have too many problems. I think she was.
Well, it's also light.
Yeah, I
so
would suspect
have,
so that the kitchen's good enough.
They've made rice and more soup.
Yeah.
And
And then Alice would sit down in the lounge again for a while, reading more, and just seeing if she can grab Lady Jane coming back, or if it's getting too late, she would go in her...
It's now 11 o'clock.
Yeah, then she would go in her bedroom and would go to sleep. She would not look for Dottie. Because she has no idea what to say to Dottie. She can say sorry, but she can't say it will not happen again, because honestly she's quite sure it will happen again. And she's just avoiding the confrontation in this case. So she will go to bed and just crawl under her sheets and will try to sleep.
You go to sleep.
Yeah.
You wake up. It's the next morning.
She will slowly get up, wash her face, will slip into light clothing, and she will see if there's breakfast that she can grab.
Make a listen roll.
$84 is definite. Although, wait, my listen is high, isn't it? Not that high. Yeah, I don't hear anything.
You arrive at breakfast. Lady Jane is sitting there. She's again, like the last time, smoking, reading papers. The table's been laid for two.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How was Cairo?
Good. How are you?
Better.
Good. And she ignores you.
Yeah, Alice would just sit down and she would have breakfast. She will try coffee, see how that goes down.
Yeah, it's mocha, and that is actually something you can usually drink, even when you have problems with your stomach. So yeah.
And after she's done, she would look at Lady Jane, and she would just one question, Lady Jane.
Yes.
You said you might know a way how we could enter, how do you want to call it, the dream world?
Yes, there is a ritual that I have never tried, but the ancients tell us it works.
I think I want to try it. I highly doubt I would forgive myself if I would not try to see if we can get Linda. Or find Linda, or help Linda, whatever is happening. So, whenever you would have time in the next days, it would be lovely if we could try it.
Sure.
Thank you.
I'll go to Cairo to get the necessary implements. I'll be gone for 2 days. 3, probably. It's not so easy to buy milk off the poppy and be sure that it's the real thing.
I can come up with... She will look around, but she will still offer, so for paying for all of this, sure.
Oh, don't worry. It's not the money. You just need the right supplier.
Okay.
And then she folds up the papers, she walks out.
Mm-hmm.
And you hear her talk to one of the girls who says, Fatima, would you tell Simon that I will be needing his services today? If we could leave for Cairo in the next 2 hours, if he can make it, then that would be brilliant. I'll be in my study.
Alice would grab the same book again, because I'm not sure if she went through, or she will grab the next one, and she will grab definitely... I think she's drinking quite a bit of water. She will sit outside in the garden again. I think that's quite a peaceful place for her, so she would just sit there and will read until it's lunchtime. And served for one person.
At some point, you see Simon in his uniform walk over to the study and knock on the door, and Lady Jane says, "Come," and then he announces that he would be ready to leave in 30 minutes. So she says, "Oh, thank you." She goes out and she goes to Dottie's room. And then she comes out again half an hour later, and she goes to the car and they drive off.
Alice will be, in this case, quite stubborn, just going along with the way. Just read, keep your mind busy, wait for the next food, and just try to get through the days.
The next food is served.
She will eat, and then she will, because that would be lunch, so she would return to the garden and would go on reading. She would probably switch up the reading in between to maybe look more for, I don't know, maybe going back to learning the hieroglyphs a little bit, to work on that, because they Dottie, I think as well, both of them were slowly trying to learn a little bit to read and understand them.
Okay. Dinner is served.
With dinner, Alice would go to the liquor cabinet and she would pour herself a drink. She would put away the bottle, but she would pour herself a drink with dinner.
You think you will pour?
She will try at least to see if something is there. Then she will close the bar because it's empty. And
the bar?
Or a bar cart, something like that. I'm quite sure.
Yeah, but I mean, you are drinking. You have missed your power roll.
Okay, I thought you were rolling for if I can find alcohol.
Oh, no. You can find the alcohol.
Okay.
It's not a problem.
Then
Dottie didn't go to those lengths.
the main thing she would do, she would pour herself a drink and would put the bottle back. Then she would sit down, and that doesn't hinder me on getting up again and grabbing more. I think that would be exactly the behavior. So during dinner, she would drink the one drink, and then she would probably decide on, oh hell, and she would grab another drink, maybe just also the bottle because it's more convenient, and would go to the garden again and sit there reading a bit and drinking. She will try to not drink as much as quickly as last time. Her goal is not
make a power check.
to end the
Make
last
a power check with disadvantage.
Let's see.
God, this is even tearing me up.
It's still working. With disadvantage is an 80, and I have 85 power. No, I'm not. I have 55.
No, you don't have 80.
Wrong number. I was looking at intelligence. So yes, a fail, definitely.
Okay. You're getting drunk. At some point, you hear footsteps.
Mm-hmm.
It's Dottie.
The question is Dottie in the garden? Is she walking towards me, or is she...
No, she's walking towards you.
I think quick emotion and quick thought of Alice, even though she's drunk, would be hide. But I think she will be stupid enough to carefully try to put the bottle like behind her on the floor. You know, like putting it like this. It's a question.
21. Spot hidden.
She sees everything.
Not only that, she stands in front of you and she says, "The maid told me."
What?
That you're drinking.
And? Let me drink when I want to drink. I will not pass out again. You can join me. Oh, I asked Lady Jane to do like the ritual thing. But I think she told you that she's going to Cairo, or she went to Cairo again.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get it over with and see if we can help Linda. It's so much fun in these other worlds so far. Can't get worse.
I don't know how long I can take this.
Join the club.
Now you see her cry for the third time in your life. And she turns around and she leaves.
I think in a very pitiful way, Alice will try to get up, but can't really because she's too drunk already, and just plonks back on where she was sitting. And I think her reaction would be to pour another drink. Hey, Cthulhu.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
insanity is a bad mix.
Yeah, Dottie has been losing sanity all evening already.
Then maybe she will join Alice on a very low level of sanity.
So make a Constitution save with a Constitution roll with disadvantage.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3. No. 94 is far away from functioning.
At least you're not rolling 100.
No,
so
no. I'm not completely failing.
You basically pass out.
Mm-hmm.
And after a while, that little fish, this time quite exasperated, hits you over your virtual head with a virtual club, which it found in a virtual frozen pond.
Yep.
But it's actually not the fish that's hitting you.
Okay.
Actually, nobody's hitting you. You feel someone cupping your face with their hand. Do you open your eyes?
Yes.
You see Dottie.
Is it light outside or is it still dark?
It's dark.
Why are you not asleep? It's late.
Yeah.
Alright, I'll go to bed. She would try to get up.
Well, Dottie will help you. You are drunk, you can hardly walk, but she's there.
And walking towards my bedroom, I would suspect.
Mm-hmm.
And in a very drunk Alice point of way, when we are basically at the bed before she plunks down, she would probably, surprisingly, kiss Dottie like on the forehead and would be like, "I don't deserve you, darling." And then she would plonk on her bed and would roll up and curl up. Just in her clothing, she doesn't care, and just go back
Dottie
to
wouldn't
sleep.
be Dottie if she didn't actually put you to bed, drape the sheets over you, and then she sits next to the bed for a while. You go to sleep, but you can make a listen roll.
God, do I want that? Listen should be a success, I think, even though the roll was... Oh yeah, it's a success. Not a good roll, but a success.
You hear Dottie pray for you.
Oh boy. I think then Alice's last thoughts were, "That is useless, darling."
Well, I mean, you prayed, and it had an effect. It wasn't the effect you desired, but it did have an effect.
It was horrific, so no. Well, good and horrific at the same time. But yeah. She will go to sleep. Just going with the vibe that Alice is more the I'm drinking and getting more and more tired person, and not I'm drinking, getting more and more like, hey, party person.
No.
Yeah.
This time you dream.
Mm-hmm.
And it's maybe a nightmare, it depends. You enter your house in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all quiet. Except for Paddy Paws running towards you.
Mm-hmm.
Maeve jumping at you. You go into the salon. It's awfully quiet. There's no Teresa.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at your watch, and she should be there because she works here. It's awfully quiet. And then Maeve jumps from your arms, and she runs to the door, and she looks at you. Do you follow her?
Yes.
Go upstairs. She goes upstairs. She goes to the second floor. She goes to Dottie's room. The room is completely empty.
Definitely.
She's taken everything.
Not sure it would be nightmare enough to have Alice wake up. That would be your decision. It's definitely nightmare, although objectively not surprising. Maybe her brain telling her that this will be the result if she goes on. Although
maybe the little fish is kind of bad.
Although it would be surprising the cat should have been gone then as well, because the cat belongs to Dottie. Yeah, I'm not sure if she would really wake up from that, or if she would just sink into sleep again.
At some point, however, you do wake up.
Yeah.
You open your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Dottie's sitting next to the bed in a chair. She's sleeping.
Alice will slowly sit up, trying not to make too much noise. I think the stupid part of her brain is like, next time we need to hide and not get caught, because she needs to sleep in her bed instead of sitting here. But she would not say it. That would be definitely part of her brain functioning. And then she would peek at the clock. How late is it?
It's 10 o'clock. Dottie actually heard you. She wakes up. She stirs.
Sorry for waking you up. Sorry, why did you not sleep in your bed? I'm not dying sick that you have to sit here.
You cannot really, in all seriousness, ask me this.
I do? I just drank a little. Too much. Not as much as last time. Getting it under control.
Alice, who do you think you are? And who do you think I am?
You're Dottie, I am Alice.
This is not the time for being funny.
I have no other answer than that. I'm working on it to get it under control. It will just take time.
You have no control over anything. You are so afraid of dreams, of things you might conjure up in your mind. But what you do is you get drunk every single day.
That's the easiest way to deal with it.
Alice, it's not. You're not dealing with it. You are killing yourself.
Stop killing me.
If I hadn't found you, you would probably be singing with the angels just now.
The angels would not sing with me. I would be down there. But you know, I'm stubborn. Not that easily done by. And yes, it was too much. As I said, I'm trying to find a limit to work with.
There is no limit. The limit is 0 for you.
I think with that, Alice would slowly get out of bed. Her head probably not feeling very good. And would no, she would go to like brushing her teeth and fresh herself.
Is this how you're going to treat me from here on out?
I don't know what to tell you. It's like it is.
Alice, I'm so afraid for you.
Well, then we are two that are very afraid.
No, you're obviously not afraid for yourself. You just throw your health and your body and your mind to the wind.
It's just a few drinks.
Alice. What are you saying?
It's just a few drinks.
So all of this means nothing. I mean nothing to you. You're happy to just get drunk. You're happy for me to just find you somewhere around the house. And luckily I found you. Is that how this is going to be? Because if so, then please tell me now.
The idea is not that you have to find me anywhere, no. As I said, I just need to get it under control. Working on it, bit by bit.
I cannot go on like this.
I don't know what to change. I'm not doing that to hurt you. That's the last thing I want to do. It's just like it is.
But you keep doing it. You're really good at it.
Okay. The different ideas what Alice would do now.
I'm waiting because I have no idea.
I'm also not sure what kind of reaction that would be. I can't promise you that I will not drink. I just can't. I can only try for sure not to drink that much. It's the only way I know how to get through the day at the moment. As I said, I'm not doing that to hurt you, and I'm sorry that it's hurting you, but I have no other way. I can only promise I will try to drink less.
Well, obviously, there is nothing I can do for you. That's okay. I'm going to return to Cairo. As soon as Lady Jane is back, I'm going to ask if her driver will take me into town.
That is your decision.
It is my decision. And I'm sorry that it's ending like this.
I think Alice would throw the last piece of clothing on and would leave the room.
You leave the room?
Yeah, and she would go for breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
To get a big mocha and something to eat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Lady Jane is going to come back the next day. Unless you want to do anything, we can go into the future.
It's a good question. I'm still torn what Alice is able to do. It's the main question, how far do we drive the temporary insanity?
Well, I mean, it depends. I mean, what do you mean? What she's able to do?
The thing is, how it's the
main... I mean, there is plenty of alcohol if you want to keep drinking.
That is easy enough. But the question is, how far down the rabbit hole is she to turn it around or not? Because usually, if you're temporary insanity, there's not much that you yourself can do.
I mean, it really depends on. I mean, this is beyond the rule set now. It depends on what you feel Alice would do. Is Alice able to... I mean, also, what does Alice want to do? Because it could well be that this drinking is exactly what she wants and she doesn't care about Dottie. That could also be
She
part of it.
always
It's really...
cares about Dottie. I think the main problem is she cares about Dottie, but drinking is at the moment the only way she knows how to get through the day. And
I mean, the
she's
question
sitting
is,
in the middle of it.
does she, I mean, the thing is, does she feel that she could get Dottie to communicate with her at all, or does she feel that Dottie is beyond repair? Because if that's the case, then Dottie will actually leave.
Dottie's never beyond repair. I think that's something Alice knows, that Dottie is someone who always carries hope around. So I think Alice will, the rest of the day, at least during daytime, she will probably be in between of getting up, walking towards Dottie's room, turning around, sitting back down, thinking about having a drink, deciding that's probably not a good idea, and being in the circle of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking about if she will drink and talk to Dottie, or if she will try to be sober to talk to Dottie.
I leave it completely up to you.
I think she will take a drink, but she will make sure it's just a little bit. It's really not to be drunk. It's really just like the little sip of, we can do this. And then she will walk towards Dottie's room and knock on the door.
You hear Dottie's voice, come.
She will carefully stick her head in, hoping that nothing flies towards her.
No.
Before you leave, would you have 2 or 3 minutes time?
Of course, come inside.
She will go inside and she will look for a stool or something to sit in, like across from Dottie.
Dottie has actually folded her arms like this in front of her chest.
Alice ignores that. I meant what I said this morning. I don't know another way to deal with life at the moment. I don't want you to go. But I don't know how to get out of this. I have the feeling if I don't drink, I will sit hidden in a cupboard, probably, under a blanket, shivering, not moving. This is the only thing that keeps me at the moment moving. And not going another rabbit hole down that is called opium or something more horrific. I know it's not right, but I don't know how to change it.
You're afraid.
Every second that I'm awake. And every second where I'm sleeping.
You've had more nightmares?
Yes. And I'm, as always, sorry. And even more sorry that I have to say it again, that I'm dragging you through this insanity over and over with me. I get why you want to leave, and I can't blame you for it. I can only say I hope you can stay, but I understand if you can't. I just hope I will find a way out of this to get my life back together.
Dottie is actually on the other side of the room. She takes 3 very long, very quick steps towards you. She appears next to you rather quite quickly.
Okay.
Not like
No,
that,
no,
but
it's
you
clear.
can see her move.
Yeah.
And she just puts her hand on your shoulder. Together.
Together. Maybe you should hide all liquor from me.
Maybe I should.
Not sure that will help me, which means the next days will be probably horrific.
She kisses you on top of your head and she says, "They will be horrific, but you will not be alone."
Then one last drink for me and you hide the stuff. Or not hide it, get rid of it. We can pay Lady Jane for it.
One last drink.
Okay. Alice will get up. Will pour herself a drink. Just a normal sized one, not a full glass. Which would also be one drink technically.
Which would also be one drink.
She will down it probably. Just on it goes. And then she would probably... I'm not sure if if Dottie followed her.
Yeah, no, she's there with you. But she's not saying anything, she's just standing there.
The question is everything... I think afterwards she would turn around to Dottie. I'm not sure if getting rid of this would be sensible, if Lady Jane would be offended by it, because she probably wants a drink.
Let me handle Jane.
Maybe just store it in the kitchen? Somewhere hidden?
I will take care of this, Alice. Okay?
Okay.
Then she stands there and she says, "Do you want a hug?"
Yes.
And she gives you a hug.
And I think afterwards, Alice would hug her quite a while, and then she would go to the garden again to sit there without a drink. Or probably she would pour herself a glass of water and would just plonk herself out there. Then enjoying the night sky by now, because it's definitely dark by now. Should be.
Yeah. It's dark, but it's not actually late. It's around 9 o'clock.
Yeah. So it's still at least nice. It's a little bit cooler, but it's not too cold to sit outside.
And then you see Dottie go to where the kitchen is, and she comes back, and one of the maids is going to where the liquor cabinet is, and Dottie has a plate, a large silver salver, and on it are glasses and a carafe, and also something that looks a lot like sandwiches. And she sits down and she says, "I've got iced tea, I've got sandwiches, and I've got some Turkish delight."
Where did you hide that? The last one. The rest is from the kitchen, I'm quite sure.
A good servant is always in step with their master. A great servant is always a step ahead.
Alice would take her hand, and you, my darling, are not my servant anymore.
I know, but this is still true.
It is.
And it's the green ones.
Obviously the good ones.
Yeah. And, and she just basically, so the iced tea is something that you may want to enjoy now because it's actually quite nice, but I'm not sure about your stomach. But the sandwiches are really good. And and then after a while, you do feel a little bit tired. And then Dottie says,
"Should we get some sleep?"
Yeah.
Without passing out.
Without passing out.
Then I will see you in the morning.
I'll see you in the morning.
I will be grumpy, for sure. Maybe. It's been a while from last time I drank that much. Let's see how I cope with it this time. She will give Dottie a kiss on the forehead, and then we'll go to bed.
Dottie goes to her room, presumably to bed. The next morning you wake up. I don't know, are you grumpy?
Usually this is something that sneaks in, and at the moment Alice had her ups and downs so much. I think her body is kind of scrambled upside down with alcohol, yes, no, 2 days not, 1 day yes, and then a lot. I'm not sure how much she's really fully addicted body wise. I think it's more mentally at the moment, because her body had so many breaks at the moment in between that as far as I know, the body connection that you want alcohol goes quicker than the mind. So I think it's more the mind that it's going to like, oh, a drink would be nice now. No, there is no drink, and no, you promised not to, basically. So I think she will be quiet, but she will get herself moving, cleaning her teeth, throwing on some clothing, and going to see if there's breakfast, which obviously, yes, there's always breakfast.
There's breakfast, and it's late for 2. And Dottie also arrives shortly after you. And she says, "Good morning."
Good morning. I hope you had no nightmares.
No, did you?
Not that I remember.
That's an improvement.
It's a good improvement. I can go with that. And while breakfast, Alice would be like, did Lady Jane tell you more about her ritual?
Well, apparently it entails taking milk of the poppy, which is going to make us sleep, and then she's going to recite words, and then apparently we're going to wake up in the dreamlands, whatever that is.
Hopefully better place than the last weird places we had to visit.
Hopefully. But are you up for it?
No and yes. Not sure I'm up to it, but I want to do it. Because if not, I will definitely have nightmares for the rest of my life, dreaming about I could have done something and I did not. Whatever's in there, I will just be annoying as usual. And very unfriendly and grumpy as usual. So far it has kind of worked, surprisingly. We are both still here.
Well, and this is what really makes me a little bit sad, because you're such a wonderful person, but you never show it. You're always grumpy. You're always annoying.
The world gives me a lot of reasons to be grumpy and annoying.
There's always hope.
Yeah. It's quite hard to find it from time to time.
Maybe I need to search harder for the two of us.
I think you're doing your fair share on hoping. I have a little hope that we some kind find at least an explanation of what we are seeing in the pictures. Have you ever tried to see if she is showing up again?
I have.
Did you see her?
I haven't seen her. No. Actually, I have one of the pictures in my room. I felt this close to actually turning it over because I was a bit afraid that I might end up in it. I put my cross on it.
Wise choice. That will definitely set up the barrier to keep you safe.
We don't know that.
I highly doubt you will just be dragged into this by... Well, it's a question, how did she get in there?
I still believe it's got something to do with the fact that she was drawing Tutu.
It just makes sense. God of Dreams. Being like in a parallel world. Although it's still weird.
And the paintings by Lagrange, who also translated Tutu's hymn and who was a painter and who miraculously vanished, or his body.
I would be curious if we can meet him in there.
Me too.
I would be really curious to learn more about him as well.
Yeah, more than the stuff we just read.
Because I would be really curious if I highly doubt Linda went to wherever she is on free will. I think it was more accident. But it's a question if he went there on free will. He studied Tutu. He knew quite a lot.
Well, I mean, this is the thing. There isn't really that much to know about him. This is the them. This is the problem. They are kind of elusive. Not much was written about this god. So we have one more day until Jane comes back. How are you feeling about not drinking? I mean, how is your state of mind?
At the moment, good. It probably will change during the day.
Is there anything I can do?
Punch me in the face when I want to drink? Slap me, maybe. Not punch me, slap me.
I'm being serious here.
I don't know. It's hard. I just need to keep myself distracted.
Do you want to be on your own?
Honestly, no. That will go horrifically wrong.
All right. Then I'll be here. We can, you know what, we could do some... We could play some chess.
That's a good idea. That definitely keeps my brain and my hands busy.
Yeah.
And to trick it, I can have a glass of water. So I still have a drink.
Mm-hmm.
And we will see how it goes. Then let's find a chess set.
Mm-hmm. That's actually not so difficult because she has one of those tables with the inlaid chess board and chess pieces, and she's also got backgammon, you know, all those games, and you start playing chess, and it's actually taking a while because the two of you are quite evenly matched at this stage. And then there's at some point one of the servants shows up and says, it would now be time for coffee. Shall I just serve here?
Yes, please.
And she comes back with coffee and mocha and biscuits, and then lunch is served, so you basically have lunch. And interestingly enough, also the food is kind of helping. And then in the afternoon you keep playing or you do something else, but it is working. This idea of distracting yourself is working.
The thing is, at the moment, today is basically also a non-stressful day, so it should be easier to keep it together because the decision is already made. Tomorrow will be, I think, the hard day because there the stress comes back again.
And then you have dinner. Dottie suggests to just sit quietly in the garden, or maybe not so quietly if you want to do something, because she knows that you are a little bit of an even restless person when you're not under stress. You kind of... And then at some point you go to bed. Go to sleep. Wake up the next day. The little fish is giving you a thumbs up. Kind of going, you did well. Let's try another day.
I think Alice will start a page on her notebook, good days and bad days, and she will make one. God, my brain. Strich? Marker? Line, thank you.
Line.
On the good side. And I think today is the day where she will probably have a little bit of a struggle to really get out of bed. Because she's not really wanting to face her own decision.
Okay.
But it will take. She will be out later. But she will, I think, kick herself then.
Dottie, when you get to the breakfast table, you notice she looks relieved when she sees you. But she doesn't say anything. She just smiles at you and she says, "Hi, good morning."
Good morning.
You have breakfast.
Thank you.
And then around about lunch, Lady Jane returns. And And she has lunch with you, and then she says, I've got everything that I need if you are going to go ahead with this.
Then let's start. The quicker the better. Before I change my mind. Also, Dottie would have noticed that Alice would not have eaten much. For breakfast, it would be her a little bit like usual, but for lunch, it would really be not much.
Lady Jane looks at you and she says to Dottie, Dottie, will you give us a moment, please? Dottie looks a bit puzzled and then she nods and leaves.
Alice will also look puzzled. She will look at Lady Jane.
So how are you coping?
Still standing. I am not sure if Dottie threw out all your liquor or hid it well, but we will pay you clearly for it that you can restock when we leave.
Don't worry about it.
Well, I kind of hear the voice of my mother that this is the worst behavior as a guest ever, so thank you for not throwing me out of the house.
She turns away from you and she says, I value Dottie greatly. Throwing you out of the house would mean she would leave as well.
Well, she was close enough to leave, and I am very blessed that she is stronger than I am and is staying.
She turns around and she looks at you inscrutably and she says, Dottie would never leave you.
I think 2 days ago I brought her to the point where she would have packed her stuff and left for Cairo.
She smiles at you enigmatically. So,
let's do this.
Let's do this. Now, I believe that this is probably transcendental. Although it says that you will go to the dreamlands, I think that probably it's not your bodies that will go. However, I think it's going to be a good idea if the two of you were to lie down during this process, because I don't know if sitting is a good idea.
Yeah, we don't want to fall over and hit our heads.
Indeed. So we could do this in one of the... I mean, she's got so many living areas. And she basically tells you which one, because it's got two basically sofas. And she says, well, so from what I can tell is that time moves slightly differently in the Dreamlands.
Okay. Quicker? Slower?
A lot quicker.
Great.
1 hour here seems to be a week there.
Okay.
Or maybe even a month. It's unclear because we don't really know how the Ancient Ones counted. So the question is just, I don't know what you will find there. The only thing that I can tell you is that if this works, you will end up in a place called Ulthar. This word is a very unusual word. When we look at it, we can't say it's Egyptian at all. We don't know the language it came from.
It doesn't sound very Egyptian, to be honest. It doesn't sound like any language.
Indeed. So I can't even tell you what this may mean, because most Egyptian names have some form of meaning. You know? Like Wainwright, the person who makes wagons, things like that. Ulthar doesn't have a meaning because we don't even know what language it is. From what we can tell, reading those scriptures, Ulthar seems to be a safe place. It doesn't seem to be dangerous. At least not for those who are in the know. The only thing that I don't know is if the two of you will show up there together, or if you will be separated.
Let's hope for the first.
And then there's another thing. I don't know how to bring you back.
I know. Honestly, I think if someone would know how to get back, we wouldn't have seen her in the pictures probably, or in the paintings, and honestly I'm quite sure that the dear painter would not be missing.
So you're still ready to go?
Yes. The only thing we can try, if our bodies stay here, you can at least, I don't know, after an hour or so, try to nicely pat or slap, however, just to shake to see if that might help to get us back. It's worth a try.
It's worth a try.
Some cold water in the face might also be an option to, like, pull you out of there. But let's see.
She smiles at you.
Thank you for doing this, and thank you for organizing all the stuff we need.
You've tasted opium before?
Yes.
What about Dottie?
No. I honestly, I hope not, but you need to ask her. I don't think so. I really don't think so. And for me, it was just research for exactly this case, to be honest. So far, I've stayed away from that stuff.
That's very good.
Because
take it from me.
I've seen too many people going down the rabbit hole and not coming back.
She takes a step closer to you and she says, I've been down that rabbit hole.
Well, you are a strong person to be back here in one piece.
I would call it stubborn.
Then there's hope for me. I have quite a bit of stubborn in me.
And she laughs. She has a very throaty laugh. And she says,
not as much as Dottie. She definitely has more stubbornness than me. She's unbeaten in that.
You've discovered that too, have you?
That was easy to find. I think that's why we are kind of getting along quite well.
So, let's go. Yeah. And she leads you to the place where basically she wants to hold the ritual. She gets Dottie, who's gone back to her room probably, while the two of you had your conversation, and then she gives each of you, a little kind of like glass with a milky white substance. And she says, now this is diluted milk of the poppy. You drink it and you will go to sleep. You will feel sleepy very, very quickly. I will start reciting this. You may still hear my voice. I don't know. It could be that this is actually going to guide you. We are not sure about this. Are we ready?
I think what Alice would do, she would make sure that we are lying in a way that Alice can grab Dottie's hand.
Yeah.
And Alice would wrap a scarf around, or she would ask Lady Jane, because it's easier, we have her there, to wrap a scarf around the hands that, like, if you fall asleep and pass out, that you can't let go, that we are still holding on to each other.
Yeah, she takes one of her, she's not like, she's more a tweed scarf person, not like a shawl person, like Pamela.
I think Alice would have taken one of her scarves, probably.
Okay. Then she uses that and she basically makes sure that your hands cannot be separated. And and I think at this stage we're going to take a 5-minute break before we go into the dreamland
Oh
and see what
boy.
happens there.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. You drink the milk of the poppy, so does...
I think Alice will make the very not fun idea of cheering. Cheers.
Actually, Dottie is kind of like taking this with gallows humor, and she clinks her glass to yours, and the two of you drink.
Yep.
And Lady Jane is standing there with the book. And you lay back. And it is actually, although it's diluted, it's very powerful. And you fall asleep, not instantaneously, but very quickly. You get drowsy and you can't keep your eyes open. And Dottie even less, because she is, it's just, she's not used to this at all. And you hear Lady Jane speak in a language that you don't know. It's ancient Egyptian, but you do notice that once she says Ulfar in all of this, and you fall asleep. And then the little fish probes all your senses, and you notice that your eyelids are red. There is light, and your skin is telling you are lying down on something soft, but it's definitely grass. And your sense of smell is telling you there is trees, there is flora, and your ears are telling you that there are birds chirping. And your skin is also telling you that there is sunlight falling onto your face.
Do I feel that I hold a hand with someone?
Yeah.
Okay.
You are holding hands with someone.
That immediately calms her down, but she would open her eyes to have a look around. I don't think she would... Yeah, first have a careful look around.
You are lying on a meadow in a wood. Deciduous trees, maybe oaks, maybe beeches, some birches as well. You can tell by the white bark. And you can see that the sun is at an angle, so it's probably not noon. It's warm, maybe 22 degrees. It's not Egypt, not at all. It's like maybe Central Park. Like, it looks like a European woodland. And in the distance you can hear the sound of a brook. And you can hear the birds. You can see a couple of butterflies fluttering around. And next to you lies Dottie, who's also beginning to stir in her sleep. And she opens her eyes.
I'll probably squeeze her hand, but then carefully let go and use both hands to sit myself up properly. And
you sit
to
up.
have another look around, and then looking at Dottie. And when she's like halfway there and has also had a chance to look around, Alice would be like, "This is surprisingly nice."
It's also not what I expected. I thought it would be more, I don't know, Egyptian.
Yeah. This definitely does not call Egypt. It's pretty though.
Yes. And I can smell the flowers. she sits up as well and she looks around. She says, "Can you see a road or something where we need to go?"
No. I think Alice will now stand up to full height. Then you should see a little bit farther. And she would really try to see if she can see anything as a point of interest that is not a tree, grass, or anything like that.
Dottie does the same. She gets up, and the two of you look around. And at the moment, I mean, it's not a dense forest. It's not like, this is like the spooky forest where the witch lives. It's a nice forest. Light trickles in. You can see when you look around that there's enough space between the trees to go through, to walk through them, to walk past them, but also that there's constantly light coming in. And then Dottie turns around 360 and she's like, would it be too much to ask for directions?
We can try. If not, we will just decide which direction to go. You can ask. I don't think anyone is here to guide us.
We're looking for Linda, she says.
And a certain painter, that's that name, Lagrange. Mr. Lagrange.
All is quiet.
I don't think anyone is here. So let's just pick a direction. And let's look for them.
So you pick a direction.
Alice would try to see. We see light, or do we see a sun?
You can, when you look up, you can see the sun.
She would be crazy enough to see that she recognizes in which direction we are. Although I have no idea what. Well, depending on where it stands, I know roughly what time of day it is.
You would say it looks like 3:30 on a September day that's really warm.
Okay.
3:30 in the afternoon.
Then I think Alice would walk towards then the direction where the sun is slowly going.
Which would be west.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. You walk for a while. 10 minutes maybe. And then suddenly you hear, "Oi! You there!"
Alice would try to look around and see who sat there.
"Oi! You there!"
Alice would clearly stop, look at Dottie. I hope you heard that as well.
Yeah. And she looks around.
I can't see anything.
"Not down there. Up here."
Can we see anything in the trees, like sitting in the branches or so?
Make a spot hidden with advantage.
Yeah, that's right. Thank goodness for the advantage. That is a normal success.
You look around up there. And in the branches you see a really big, mangy, old cat. One ear is partly torn off. And he gets up on his forepaws. He stretches. And then he makes this cat's back, like he arches his back. And then he says, "Who are you?"
Two ladies from New York City, and who are you?
"Me. I'm Toby."
Toby.
Some call me Old Toby.
Oh, nice to meet you. I am Alice, this is Dottie.
I say. And what brings you two here?
We're looking for a friend that got lost. Probably, maybe here. Not sure. We expected a little bit more desert Egypt than this lovely forest, to be honest.
Why would you want to see Egypt here? This is the Dreamlands.
Well, it's a good question. Maybe she is thinking about other things. Did you by any chance meet grab the last name, Linda Savage?
I've met many savages in my life, but I don't think Alinda was among them.
Have you maybe met a quite talented painter? He's named Lagrange.
Can't say I've met him. I've met another chap. He's also quite talented. Painter too. His name was Michelangelo.
Yeah, we heard of him.
Italian guy.
Yeah, we heard of him. Talented. In our world
I'm not
as
so
well.
I'm not so interested in painting myself. I prefer music.
I get that. I love music. But art is beautiful as well.
See, I can't paint, and he raises his paws.
I get that point. Is there...
But I've got very good ears. Well, one ear.
Is there a place to be when we want to look for someone or meet someone? Is there more than just these woods? We are the first time here. First time visitors.
He licks his paw. And he goes, first time visitors, huh?
Yeah. At least we think so.
Now let's see. Let's take a butcher's hook at the dickory dock to tell the bird lime. And out of nowhere appears a cuckoo's clock in the sky. And it says, it's got one hand and it has two settings, late and on time. You're kind of towards late. And he says, well, looks like you're late.
That would fit for me, yes.
Her Majesty doesn't like it when people are late.
Majesty.
Don't tell me you came ill-prepared.
As I said, we expected more the country of Egypt.
If I had a coin for every single time I meet unprepared visitors to this place, I could afford a whole mouse castle. All right. He shakes his head like in exasperation. He turns around, walks down the branch, then climbs down the tree trunk, sits down in front of you and says, all right, so who are you again?
Alice and Dottie.
That won't do. You must have a second name. All humans do.
Alice Baker and Dorothy Williams.
Can't say I've heard the name before. Are you important?
No, I don't think so. We are just here to look for Linda. We suspect she's here, but honestly we are not sure.
And who's that Linda?
A friend of ours. She got lost and we think she by accident got here. And Alice will take like a minute to describe how she looks. Maybe she has a different name, you never know, so...
That doesn't ring a bell. She sounds pretty though.
Just for me and my brain, Alice in Wonderland was already written.
Yeah. 19th century.
So Alice would have a little bit of... This fits weirdly.
I'm pretty sure that you would have read it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
She would have for sure read it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just to be curious, the Queen... Please don't tell me it's the Queen of Hearts.
I'm pretty sure she has a heart. I mean, I got a heart.
Yeah. Can you go invisible?
No.
Good.
Can you?
No. It would be fun sometimes to do that.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I've never met anybody who can go invisible.
You just remind me of something I read in a book. Never mind.
You read about me in a book?
Well, at least
he kind of preens like cats do.
There was at least a similar cat as you. The name is different and it can go invisible. It speaks...
None of us can go invisible here.
Well, it might be that this is like the... In a book you can write whatever you want, so you can exaggerate a little bit.
Yes, it's called poetry. We've got plenty of them.
Mm-hmm.
That Shakespeare fellow, he never stops talking.
So... Are we in trouble that we are officially not here to see the Queen?
You cannot pass through these lands without seeing the Queen.
Does she...
I will put a good word in for you, and she will probably not throw you in prison straight away for trespassing.
Prison... I'm just looking at Dottie.
Dottie's kind of like...
Is there anything we need to know? Does she want gifts, poetry, song, dance, cocktail recipes?
Can you do any of these things?
I can dance. I can paint better than dancing.
When I finished my 9th life, and they said it was time for me to stay here forever, and they offered me the sentinel job, I didn't think I was going to have to deal with people like you. I thought it was going to be an easy job.
Well, I'm...
Come on! And he turns around and he starts walking.
I'll grab Dottie's hand, and I think we will carefully follow.
Did we just speak to a cat?
Yes, and it vastly reminds me of the Cheshire Cat in Alice in Wonderland.
Doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's why I asked for the Queen of Hearts, because I don't want to meet her.
He looks over his shoulder and is like, I haven't got all day. Quick. I need to go back to my tree to lie in the sun.
I get that you don't want to miss out on that, sorry. We're still trying to get hold of where we are.
This is Ulthar.
At least we're in the right place. You look at Dottie.
Of course, you wanted to go to this place, otherwise you wouldn't get here.
Mm-hmm.
You don't just end here up by chance. You want to come here, unless you're a dreamer, in which case you have no choice.
We're not... Just to be curious, do you know a way back to our world?
Why would you want to go back there for?
Because we are just here to find our friend and then go back home.
Well, if you were a cat, I could easily send you back, but you're not. I have no idea, but maybe the Queen does.
Okay. We will try to keep up with his pace.
He is... You can tell he is an old cat.
Yeah.
And he looks like he's been through the wars. But even then, he is still walking quite briskly. And after about an hour or so, there's a clearing it becomes quite clear that the forest, which is beautiful, by the way, and every so often he stops and smells the flowers, or one time he sits in front of a mouse hole for about 10 minutes, but then decides that maybe he should keep going rather than having a snack. And you finally come to a place where the trees recede, and in front of you is a large castle.
I think on the way, Alice would ask the curious question like, does everyone go here when they die?
Only cats come here forever when they die. Everybody else comes while they're still alive. I mean, you're not dead. And he pokes you and he claws you.
Ouch.
See?
She will pat him.
He likes that.
I think you would enjoy our little Maeve back home.
You are not that Alice, the one that kicked the cat?
It was an accident. It happened only once and it was an accident.
Oh, dearie me.
That's not good. I'm just asking because the other people you counted or told us about are dead in our world. Long time dead. Shakespeare has been ages that he's been around. Was it Michelangelo that he mentioned?
Mm-hmm.
Even longer.
Michelangelo.
Michelangelo,
yes. Michelangelo. He has no idea who this guy is.
Even longer. So I was just curious. We are not talking about the cat incident.
Did you ever see their bodies?
No, because I was not
there you are.
born when they died.
See? But I'm afraid the Queen will have a word to say to you about kicking the cat.
As I said, it was an accident. Why is this coming up?
At that moment, you see several cats, large cats, Norwegian wood cats, so forest cats, so they're really large. And they all have a little uniform kind of piece on. And he says, oh, she knows you're here. That's the prison guards. Bye! And he runs off. And 10 cats come to you. And an 11th cat follows them. And he stands in front of you and he says, Alice Baker?
Mm-hmm.
I arrest you for the maltreatment of Maeve the Great.
But we have sorted it out.
Not in Her Majesty's mind. There will be a trial. Follow me.
Alice will not move.
These Norwegian forest cats surround you and they don't look happy at all.
I just got here. I've never been here before. On what grounds? I did nothing in this world.
You kicked a cat.
It was an accident, and Maeve still talks to me, still cuddles me, so it seems to
Maeve will be able to speak on your behalf, if she chooses. She will be summoned.
Alice will stare at Dottie.
Dottie stares back at you.
What's happening with my friend?
She did not kick the cat.
No, she's honestly the owner of the cat.
Cats don't have owners. Only in your world and in your mind.
Well, it's without discussion that Maeve is a queen, but again, what?
The cats are closing in. She will come with you. She can speak on your behalf if she so chooses. If she's got anything good to say about you.
Most important thing, don't come closer to me because, I can kick cats. I'm good at that. She will give them a really stare.
These cats are actually over 1 meter long. They are, Norwegian forest cats.
I know they're huge.
Yeah.
Alice still
And-
tries. She's in her annoyed stage again.
You're not intimidating him.
Sadly so. Well, then let's go. I don't
You follow them?
think we have an option.
No, you actually don't, because they really heard you. Like you're a cow and they're sheepdogs, or you're a sheep and they're sheepdogs. And Dottie follows.
Mm-hmm.
And they take you to the castle.
Mm-hmm.
Up the stairs. The castle is made of white stone, marble. Inside the castle is huge. And it is full of cats. You've never seen so many cats in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Big ones, small ones, young ones, old ones. Different breeds, different colors, no breeds, everything. And they're all talking.
I'll look at Dottie. A little bit of Egypt seems to be here.
The Queen would like to speak with you
Mm-hmm.
before the trial.
Great. Then let's go.
You follow them?
Yes. Not sure if
Okay.
Dottie is following or allowed to follow.
No, Dottie's following,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So you basically follow them and they take you through a flight of rooms until you reach what seems to be the throne room. So on a plinth stands a throne. A couple of stairs lead up to it, white marble. And on that throne sits a large cat. Breed is Abyssinian, so they are they have very large ears, and they are they've got very long limbs, and they are very well, one could say bony.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a very, 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 very interesting face because it's triangular.
Mm-hmm.
And this cat looks at you with eyes that are jade green.
Mm-hmm.
Very piercing eyes. And the cat's bow.
Alice will at least nod her head a little bit.
Your Majesty, Alice Baker, and her friend Dottie Williams. She rests her eyes on you and she says, "Thank you, you may go." And the guards leave. You are in my book. You mistreated a cat.
Again, it was an accident. I'm not mistreating cats.
You like arguing.
Dottie can probably confirm to that, yes. I'm not pleading guilty of something that I'm not guilty of.
You are stubborn.
Well,
And you don't know when you're beaten, or you don't want to give up, do you?
no, why should I?
Well, it is a fact that you mistreated one of my subjects when she was trying to destroy the Uktena. Did you not?
I had to stop her somehow. That was the only way to quickly do something. We needed it. You know the problem is that we don't understand you in our world. I had no idea what she was doing. She was just erratically behaving, and I wanted to get away from it to save her to not... I have no idea what that thing can do. I just wanted her to stay away from it. And then we got rid of it. Not the cat, obviously, because we love Maeve. And as far as I understood, the gods were quite happy with what we did.
Of course they were, as was I.
As I said, if Maeve would have a way to communicate with us, maybe we could have just discussed what to do with that thing. I just wanted to keep her safe, and she is so quick that I had no other chance to react. There's no way I could hold her. Ask her nicely to stop would not have worked.
I suppose not. She is quite pig-headed.
Well, she's part of our family, so...
At that moment, you hear a booming voice. Maeve the Great has arrived, Your Majesty. And at that moment, you hear Paddy pause.
Mm-hmm.
And Maeve, apparently Maeve the Great in these here realms, runs towards you. And jumps into your arms.
Okay, so Maeve has a normal size.
Yeah. No, these cats are all normal sized cats. They are not big. They also, the only thing that they do is actually they talk. They don't have opposable thumbs. They don't hold stuff. They are absolutely normal cats.
Alice will quite happily hold Maeve and start just like stroking her without probably thinking too much, and she would just whisper, "It's really good to see you. I've missed you."
And the queen looks at the two of you and she says, Maeve, what have you to say? Do you want to speak for the defendant? And Maeve basically looks at you and says, put me down, please.
Alice will very carefully, very graciously sit Maeve down.
Maeve bows and then she says, Your Majesty, it was an accident. She didn't know that I was trying to destroy the Uctina, and I didn't realize that she was trying to destroy it too. So it was more like I ran towards it and she ran towards it, and we basically clashed. Let's see if she's a convincing liar.
Well, we believe every single word she says.
With an 18, she's doing well. The queen looks at her and she looks at you again with those piercing eyes and she says, where there's no accuser, there is no accused.
I can only say that we love her dearly and we would never hurt her. She's part of the family.
Maeve sits there and basically nods. Well, Maeve, it would be your right to seek retribution, but I see you're not. I will declare this court closed. Alice Baker is absolved of her guilt. No one may ever accuse her of this fact again. And she basically looks around at every cat and no cat in particular. And then Maeve sits there, she cleans her paws. And then the queen looks at you and she says, so what do you want in my realm? Because you're not a dreamer, nor is she. And she looks at Dottie.
First of all, thank you. And we are looking for a friend. We assume she stumbled here without knowing what she's doing, and now she's stuck here and can't get back. Her husband and we are all missing her.
Is she a dreamer?
I'm not not sure, but she's doing drugs that for sure help to dream.
That's not what I meant.
I have not.
What do you know about this place?
That it's the land of dreams. That's all. I don't even know what a dreamer is, to be honest. We don't know much about this world. There is literally almost nothing there on this world in our world.
So, let me explain. This land is Ulthar. But I am also Ulthar.
Not Tutu.
No.
Okay. Sorry. Go on. I should not stop you.
Eternity had 2 children. Time and place. And time and place were for a very long eon. And then they created what you call heaven and earth. And they created you because they were so alone. And you thrived. You conquered the world. You had children, but you never really aged very well. Usually at about 20, maybe 30 tops, you all died, and you died horrible deaths. You went insane. Each and every one of you. And time and space didn't know what was going on, so they went to their mother, Eternity, and they explained what was happening. And Eternity came to you, and she watched you. And what she saw was that Earth sustained your bodies. It was full of life. You had food, you had water. But your souls and your minds languished. You had nothing to nourish them. And so, Eternity had 2 more children, Dream and Nightmare. Dreams allowed those of you who are dreamers to think of things that the gods could never conceive of, things that went beyond time and space and eternity. And Nightmare was the one that came to you to take away your fears, to put them away, to give them a vessel. And Dream and Nightmare needed a realm. So Eternity created me, and she created Ulthar. And this is where we live. And so as to ensure that you are never alone, we go to your place for 9 lives. And when we leave our last life, we come back here. And every cat lives in both worlds. Whenever a cat sleeps in your world, she's awake in the dreamlands. And Dream and Nightmare, the 2 sisters, share an island. It's the island beyond the moon. That's where the dreamers go. You see, dreamers choose when they want to end their lives on Earth. And they just come here.
Then she might be a dreamer, we are not sure. We've seen Linda wander around in paintings. We just suspected this might be the realm where she is. It might be that we are totally wrong. But she did not look happy. She looked in distress.
That is concerning, because distress is nothing that happens here.
That was my guess after what you told us, although I have to say nightmares are kind of distressing a lot.
You're having nightmares?
Regularly, but well, that's not why we're here.
Oh, but it is.
Well, let's say I have visitors I don't want to have in my dreams, in my head. But what can you do against gods? Nothing. You have to deal with it.
If she could, she would smile at you and she says, I'm not afraid of the gods. They are so much younger than me. But tell me about your nightmares. Because nightmare should not frighten you. She should take away your fears. That's what she does.
Honestly, not sure if nightmares are really taking away the fear or more playing with the fear. As long
You should have a night
as I can
nightmares.
think nightmares never leave me with a good feeling, because it pulls up the fear and reminds us of the fear.
But only for an instant, and then it should be taken away by the vessel.
Well, that sounds nice in theory. But as I said, we're not here for that. I'm more and more thinking, she will look to Dottie, that we are at the wrong place. Linda is not here.
Well, if Linda is a dreamer, what was her profession?
Artist. She was a painter.
Then she could well be a dreamer.
She disappeared. We all had no idea what happened. And
they usually do.
Then we saw her in the paintings.
Now that is something that I know nothing about. But if she is here, she's in the island beyond the moon.
The thing is, she was in paintings of an artist, which I honestly highly suspect is a dreamer as well, because he disappeared. And as it is with artists, the art is still around.
Yes, because they inspire others. That's why they're dreamers. They can conceive of things that no one else can, and they go on forever. We have artists here who created the pyramids. They're dreamers. And that was a very long time ago in your age.
We still, till now, have no idea how they managed to build these things. It's quite impressive.
And you still speak of them today.
And we pay a lot of money to visit them today, yes. Is there a way how we can get to the island without endangering us? I know we don't belong here.
Well, you are in my world. I can grant you safe passage.
Well, if it would not be too much of a trouble, I would at least like to see if Linda is there and if she's happy and safe. You're
not dreamers, so you will have to take a ship. dreamers can just travel.
The main question is, do we have a chance to return? Because taking the ship over to a land like this sounds quite horribly in my mind, like every story we hear from child on. How you die, never return.
Why would you die on the ship? Are you afraid of ships?
No, but there are stories of someone picking you up by ship, bringing you somewhere where you are in the land of the dead, basically. In your words, the land of the dreams.
Oh, no, they're not dead. No one dies here.
Alice will look at Dottie, or probably, honestly, Alice is definitely standing next to Dottie, and quite sure also by now grabbed her hand.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to give it a try, Dottie?
Dottie looks and she says, we've come this far. The queen gets up. She arches her back like cats do, stretches, and then she walks down she hops down from the throne, she walks down those 3 stairs, and then she sits down in front of you and she looks up.
We will follow.
No, she sits in front of you and she says, you are afraid.
Yes, but?
What are you afraid of?
The list is quite long. We've seen a lot of things that we never should have seen. And no other human will ever see.
I don't know what you were expecting here, but I can tell you one thing. This is my realm. You are quite safe.
Is Maeve still around?
Yeah, Maeve is sitting there. She's listening. She's paying attention.
Alice would look at Maeve, or probably kneel down next to Maeve, and would...
Maeve leans in.
And she would whisper to Maeve. So we can trust her.
She's my queen, of course you can.
Alice would give her a last scratch behind the ear and then would get up. Since Maeve is trusting you, and I blindly trust Maeve, then let's go.
I am concerned, though. The fact that you're having such terrible nightmares makes me wonder if nightmare is all right.
I don't know. I think, honestly, that, as I said, gods are mingling the affairs. And nightmare can't be everywhere at the same time, I suspect.
She looks at Maeve and she says, I think they need a guide. And Maeve sits up. Well, how about the 3 of you follow me? We go to the harbor. I'm going to give you one of my ships. It'll take you to the island beyond the moon. There, it will wait for you. When I say the island beyond the moon, I mean just that.
Understood.
But Why tell you about it? Let's show you. And she walks. She doesn't look back. She just walks away from you. Do you follow?
Yes, and honestly, I'm quite sure Maeve will be pushing us to follow if we don't.
Yeah, Maeve is. Maeve was pushy in the real world. She's even more pushy in the dreamlands.
She can also
but she's,
yell at us if she wants to, and we would understand this time.
yes, so no, just meowing. And she says she does look at you and she says, and you never understood when I was talking to you, did you?
No, I always suspected you understand us, but we always have to guess what you think, do, or want. I'm really sorry that I kicked you. I didn't know that you wanted to destroy it as well.
But when you get home, like back home in New York, will you read to me sometime?
Sure.
Because I can't read, not even here.
That is easy enough. Dottie and I both can easily read. You just need to put the paw on the book, or we just pick something and you let us know if you like it or not.
You never listened to me in the past. I asked you so many times.
I just did not understand. Remember, you were my first cat.
One time you said to me, "You're just a cat, you can't understand." We can.
I did not know. Like a lot of us don't know. Although we kind of assume. I in between assumed that you were not a cat, but one of the three sister gods, to be honest.
She stops. She says, "I am Maeve the Great."
I know now. Which definitely calms me when I'm back home, that I'm not worried about you being transformed goddess that wants to, I don't know, do whatever they are planning to do. We know now better.
She, if she could, she would smile at you. You follow the queen. Yeah. You leave the castle. You are now standing on a paved forecourt, and it actually goes down.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an incline, and then you keep going. So after about 20 minutes, you hear seagulls in the distance, and you can also begin to smell salt water. And you arrive at a pier, and there are 3 boats moored. Well, they're not boats, they're actually ships. And they are made from, you don't know if it's golden, but it looks like it's wooden planks. Each of these boats, or ships rather, has a face carved into it at the bow.
A face of a human or a face of a cat?
Funny you should say that. Always the face of a man.
Okay.
With a long beard. And Maeve looks at you and she says, "That's the man in the moon."
The man on the moon.
Yes. Like in the story. He exists. That's his face. These are his ships.
Why do I even... Okay. They're nice ships.
Yes.
And he has an impressive beard.
Oh, yes. We will see him when we pass by. Don't forget to wave. He likes it when we wave. He doesn't get much company.
I think through all this, Alice will hold Dottie's hand.
Dottie's holding on to you as well.
And I think Alice is not so much worried about herself, but she's really worried about Dottie, because all of this is not fitting into Dottie's world belief on how the world came to pass. Alice is, I think, more relaxed in this kind of view, but for Dottie, it's like, no, what you're saying is wrong.
Yeah, Dottie is...
I think that is definitely more difficult for Dottie than for Alice in this regard.
Yeah, because the man in the moon is real. Cats talk. There is... I mean,
I think
the world was
cat
the world was created.
Is probably the smallest issue with all of this.
But the fact that the world was created by space and time, and her grandmother is essentially eternity, that's not good.
No.
That's not what the Bible says.
That's not what the Bible says.
No. And basically, you enter the ships, enter one of them, and she says, I have no way of stealing you for what you're about to see. I just hope you're not afraid of fish.
No.
Out of the ocean rises a huge gray body, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And in front of you, you see a huge fish, which could easily swallow the ship. And she says, he will pull the ship.
Okay.
Dottie is not doing well, because that is like, I mean, we're talking about, this is not even, it's 5 times a whale. This is huge. And Dottie is gripping your hand, and she's closing her eyes. I'm not seeing this. I'm not seeing this. I'm not seeing this. I'm not seeing this.
Alice will give her a kiss on the cheek. I think Alice is doing better with all of this, because this is honestly, I think she's still surprised all along that all of this is not scary. It's weird, but it's not scary. Even the fish is not really scaring her. So it's just like her brain is still like, Maeve is talking, and a world of cats, and it's just weird for her. So I think at least Alice at the moment in this world is not scared.
And then you hear a rumbling, and the fish speaks in a deep voice, which is almost below your threshold of hearing. And it says, Your Majesty. And she says, Bruce, I need your help. We've got 3 passengers, and they need to go to the island beyond the moon. And I want you to take them there, and I want you to wait for them, and then take them back. It's very important. They've never traveled before. I don't want them to be afraid. So please make sure it's a smooth passage. And no dilly-dallying at Scylla and Charybdis. You can talk to them when you're back. And he bows his head. If a fish had a separated head, it would bow, but it's kind of like he plunges his whole body into it. So the whole ship that you have embarked on is moving. And then his big fish head comes up again, and he turns around. And you can see that the ship itself, has like harnesses. And he can dive and then harness himself into it. And then the queen leaves the ship, and she says, safe passage.
Thank you very much.
One and all. And Bruce begins to swim, and he is quick. So you can, and all of a sudden, the ship rises up, and you can see Bruce flying in front of you. Now you see that he's like 5 times, 10 times the size of the ship. He is huge. And do you look back?
I would look back, but before that, I would lean down to Maeve and just whisper to her, I think Dottie could use some support.
And she doesn't take your. She doesn't. You don't have to ask her twice. She jumps into Dottie's arms, and Dottie has to let go of your hand.
That's
but
fine.
She's cradling Maeve.
That should calm.
And she's
definitely Dottie.
And she's sitting down. She doesn't want to look anywhere. She just closes her eyes and she's cradling
Alice
Maeve.
very curiously is looking around now. She knows that Dottie has something to hold on to, and now she's looking back, I think, first of all, to have a little bit of an idea how the land looks, and then she will turn around to see where we are going.
So what you have noticed, or what you notice now, is that the sun hasn't moved. And you see, as you would expect, or maybe it wouldn't, the ground is falling away. The forest that you can now see behind is huge. And it gets smaller and smaller. The trees become smaller. The castle becomes smaller. You see that the ocean is huge as well. But what you then, when you look in the other direction, see that it's almost like the world is cut in half. There is the sun side, and then it gets dark. It's almost like there's a dividing line. And then as you look, you see the moon. And as you fly closer and closer and closer, you suddenly plunged into darkness. But the ship itself is glowing, and the moon is glowing. It's a white light that is enlightening all of the sky, and you see the stars. And you fly towards it, and you see a huge face in the moon. And Maeve pulls at Dottie, and Dottie looks, and Maeve says, "You should wave. He doesn't get much company." And Dottie looks around, and she,
I think by now Alice would already
reluctantly
be waving quite friendly.
raises a hand, and she waves. And you see that he's winking at you. He does this. And then Maeve says, "He's a friendly chap." And Dottie, for her, it's a little bit much.
Girl.
She sits down again. And and you see you are actually traveling beyond the moon. You are flying past it, and anything that you might have known about the sky is definitely wrong, because you can breathe. You're doing fine. And now it's like you're now in darkness, and the world has fallen away, and now all you can see is you're passing the moon. The moon is now behind you. You're flying towards the stars that are dotted around the night sky. And then out of nowhere appears an island. And Bruce says, "The island beyond the moon." And it's this rumbling noise, his voice that's almost like thunder. And he slows down. And then he plunges into water, because it's an island, so there's a body of water there. It's kind of surreal because it's suspended in midair. And it is plunged in complete moonlight, but it's bright. And he plunges into the water. The ship sinks down onto the water. And then he keeps plowing through the sea. And there's a pier. And the ship moors itself. He unharnesses himself. And he says, "When you get back, call my name. I will be around. And we will go home." And then he vanishes into the depth of the ocean that you're now on.
Alice would throw behind him like, "Thank you, Bruce."
And what do you do?
She will look around for Maeve and Dottie. Are we ready to go? Dottie, are you okay? I know this is a lot. And for you it must be much more than for me.
Do you really think eternity came first? Before God?
I honestly don't know, but it might be an option. Something. Maybe your God is eternity. It's just a different way how humans put it into words.
She didn't quite pass her pout check. I'm going to give her advantage on this one. Yeah, with an 11. Because that was actually quite convincing what you just said there. That eternity could just be another word for God.
Because the Bible clearly was written by man. Everyone knows that, even Dottie. So it's just the way how they put it. It confirms something started this and created things.
I certainly never thought that it was going to be cats.
No, me neither. No offense, Maeve. That is a quite surprising bit, although Egyptians she seemed to know that they were superior or special or not like
Maeve the
normal
Great sits up.
animals.
What I don't understand is where do we go when we die if this is not the end? Maeve looks at her and she says, no one ever dies here. This is not where you go when you die.
I guess there are different places to go. Although I honestly still hope that life is then just over.
Of course not. We will be in the presence of God.
I still think that only counts for people that believe in him.
We've discussed this before. He believes in you.
Yeah, nah. I still don't believe that.
Of course he does.
He can't have time for everyone. He's picking the ones that are worth it, like you.
He has all the time in the world.
But we don't.
He is eternity.
That he is, in fact, yes. But we don't have eternity, so let's start moving. Also, might be nice to have land under our feet. Not sure. Let's see.
You can go ashore onto the pier. It's not a problem. And you are on a pier.
I'm not sure if Dottie would realize, because I'm quite sure she's handling a lot for herself, but Alice looks more relaxed than in probably weeks.
Because?
Weirdly enough, she believes this is a safe place.
Okay.
And there are so many things happening that are just pulling her back into like the childhood ideas of animals can speak, and there are mystical things around there that are not scary. That's the thing. Nothing here, speaking cats, and nothing that we've seen was like, oh my god, like everything or other horrific things that they already went through. So I think this is really a place where Alice is like able to breathe and just focus on this and leave life a little bit in the background. And maybe having also the idea that the gods can't play with her here because she still has the feeling that the three sisters enjoy messing with her. And she
Okay.
has the feeling that the dear queen, mother of all cats, would definitely not allow that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you walk along the pier.
Yep.
You come to a little house.
Mm-hmm.
Out steps a crow.
Good day? Night? Sorry, good night. Good evening. Good. What do you say around here?
It's exactly 10:30 at night.
Then good
Good evening.
evening would be the fitting.
Guests. You've come at a very bad time.
Why so?
My mistress is in great distress.
And your mistress is?
Dream, of course. You see, her sister's gone missing. We've searched high and low. We know she cannot have left the island. But she's missing.
So she was right worrying that something is not as it should be.
No, of course not. Nightmare is missing. All the dreamers are in great distress too. They've been trying everything to find her.
Could she just have wandered off and got lost?
I doubt that she could ever get lost. She knows this place like the back of her hand, as does Dream. We don't know what happened to Nightmare.
She would look at Dottie and Maeve. That might explain why Linda did look in distress and she was running around. Maybe she was looking for Nightmare? Could Nightmare be in our world? Stuck somewhere there?
In your world, if this was the case, then people would have nightmares everywhere. And bad ones too. Nightmare wasn't meant to be in your world.
Well, I'm not sure everyone has nightmares, but there are people having them.
We would be talking about nightmares that are so dire that people might almost kill themselves over them.
She's not looking at Dottie. Not sure, to be honest. That's something people would not talk about because that's dreams. That's nothing you talk about. It's yours only.
You see, the situation is dire as well because Dream is no longer able to work. Her heart is broken.
She's looking at Dottie and Maeve again. Should we... I'm not sure if we can even try to help.
You're not dreamers.
No.
This means you can leave.
I don't know how, but yes, probably, maybe.
Would you not speak to Dream?
Yes, please, because we are actually here to look for someone.
Who are you looking for?
A friend. Her name is Linda.
Linda who?
Savage. She's an artist, painter. We are not sure if she is a dreamer, but it might be.
Would you like me to check if she is here?
Do you have like a register? Yes, please.
Yes, we do. Every dreamer who joins us signs the register.
I would have honestly 2 names, so I would be curious, but Linda would be the most important one. So Linda Savage, and the other one is, I still have no idea what his first name was.
Georges.
Georges Legrange.
Will you follow me?
Sure.
We need to go to the archive.
Let's go.
He flies off, but he flies quite kind of like
That
he
we can
makes it
follow.
in such a way that you can follow, and you arrive at which is best described as a Greek temple, so with the colonnades and everything. And he says, you need to go in there and talk to the archivals. The archives will tell you. And you go in there. And all you see are statues.
Okay. Again, statues of
Human beings.
human beings.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they do look like Greek gods and goddesses. So basically wearing the peplos and everything. One of them seems to be Athena because she's got the aegis and the spear and the helmet.
Okay. Interesting. We're in Greece now.
The raven says, no, you're in the island beyond the moon. Those are the archives.
They look like our Greek gods.
If you say so.
Athena? She would just point at the one.
The statue turns her head and she says, can I help you?
Oh. Good evening.
Good evening.
We are looking for confirmation that 2 people we are missing are here as dreamers.
What are their names, dear?
The first one is Linda Savage. She's an artist. She can draw and paint quite remarkably. God, English is difficult today.
Yes, she is very new. Only arrived here recently.
Her husband will be heartbroken, but is there a way we can find her on the island? Looking probably rather to the crow now.
Sure. We will just stand in the middle of the square and shout her name.
Okay. But before we do that, the second name would be, what was it? Georges Legrange?
Yes.
He is here.
Yes. It says here he painted and he wrote poetry.
Yes, some of his very good traits. Okay. They're both here. And again, I will have no idea to know what I will tell her husband. Problem for later me. Or later us. Um,
What else can I do for you?
that would be all. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And she falls back to being to a statue. But you have a feeling that her head is slightly inclined now, so it's not like she looks exactly like she used to look.
Should we first talk to Dream before we do anything else?
Of course. I mean, she's very sad.
I can deal with that.
You follow the raven or the crow, and he takes you to a building. It's a house. It's like a semi-detached house.
Mm-hmm.
Not big, not like a castle at all. And it's got one of those really old door knockers that looks like a lion's head, and it's holding the knocker thing in its mouth.
Yep.
You need to knock. I don't have hands.
Alice will knock very carefully.
The door opens. And in front of you, you see sitting down a mouse.
Good evening.
Good evening, I'm the dormouse. And you are?
Alice, Dottie, and Maeve the Great.
Maeve eyes the mouse.
We were told that Dream might want to talk to us.
The mouse hangs its head.
We know it's very sad at the moment.
Follow me. But close the door behind you, please.
No problem.
The dormouse leads you.
We close the door and follow.
Into a downstairs room. And there sits a little girl. Maybe 8 years old. And she's crying. And the dormouse sits in front of her and she says, Dream, you've got a visitor. No, actually 3. Look. One of them is a cat. I'm pretty sure the Queen sent her.
Good evening.
The girl looks at you. And it's a girl, 10 years old, 8 years old, blonde hair, blue eyes. But you can see in the eyes that she is not 8 years old.
We are sorry to disturb you in these difficult times, horrible times. Don't know how to phrase it properly.
My sister's missing.
We heard so. The Queen, well, basically gave us the ship to get here because we were looking for someone. We know now they are here, so they are dreamers. We saw our friend running through paintings in our world, and she looked quite not happy, quite frantic. Might it be that your sister is in our world somewhere? Were they looking for your sister?
How could my sister have made it to your world?
I don't know. Someone stole her?
Who would do such a thing?
Someone very evil, obviously.
Why would they do that?
We'll only know when we find your sister.
She's been gone so long.
The question is, how would we recognize your sister?
She's the most beautiful person in the world.
Okay. Can she?
She's like the moon and the sun.
Would people around her have nightmares? Which I suspect.
We've never been apart. We don't know. Maybe if I'm not with her, then she will give people nightmares, but she doesn't mean to. We're not supposed to be separated.
When did you see her last?
Two months ago. No, more. I don't know. It feels like forever.
Well, even 2 months are a long time when you're not used to being alone and you've never been separated. You know no way how your sister, could leave this place.
I've never thought about it. We've always been here. And it's lovely.
Then maybe
You see, we have friends.
we heard so that you have a lot of very creative people around you.
I don't know about creative, but they dream up whole worlds.
That's what we call creative in our world.
They're all very sad. They have been trying to find her, but they can't leave. Not that they ever wanted to. They come here by choice. We tell them, you can never leave, but you can live here forever. Some of them come, some of them don't. But those that did come have been trying to find her, but we can't leave.
Sounds to me she will look to Dottie and Maeve that we need to talk to the Queen if there's any way someone could leave without anyone realizing.
The little girl gets up.
The man on the moon saw nothing.
The man in the moon saw nothing. You see, we would sometimes go to him and chat to him.
He's lonely, isn't he?
I mean, I think he's used to it. We make a point of meeting him once a month, but yes, I suppose he is lonely. But he hasn't seen her either. He would have told me. He doesn't lie.
She would look over to Dottie and Maeve again. We could ask and see if we get Linda and at least ask her why we've seen her in our world. We shouldn't. As Dream said, she can't leave, but we still saw her, although she was here.
Of course you can talk to your friend. This is not a prison.
Because I'm...
The girl is trying to hold it together, so you can see that her eyes are brimming with tears, but she's trying to hold it together. She's not doing well.
I think Alice would kneel down in front of her. Maybe Linda can give us a lead how she made it to our world, although she's here.
Maybe.
And when we return, we can keep our eyes and ears open to see if we can find your sister.
When you do find her, will you please ask her to come back?
Yes, for sure. Because honestly, I don't think we like having nightmares. And I honestly think she will miss you a lot.
I've never been so lonely.
You have a lot of wonderful people around you, as you said.
It's not the same.
I know. Maybe the man on the moon has a tip for you how to handle it.
The dormouse appears next to your... I mean, you're kneeling, sitting down next to your ankle, and she was like, maybe we should give her some hot chocolate and you come back tomorrow.
Chocolate makes life definitely better.
The dormouse looks at you and tilts her head. Would you like some too?
No, thank you. I'm fine. Don't give up on your sister. I know it feels like an eternity, but you have been so long together. She will be back in no time.
The dormouse wheels in a little cart, which in front of your eyes actually grows in size as it gets closer to the girl, so that it's girl-sized rather than dormouse-sized. And it's got a cup, it's got a little teapot, and the teapot rises up and tilts, and hot chocolate pours into the cup. And the girl takes a sip, and the dormouse says, Dream, maybe you should try and sleep. And Dream drinks her fill, she empties the cup, and then she lies down on a sofa and goes to sleep.
We will tiptoe out. And I think outside Alice would be, well, then let's find the marketplace or the place the crow talked about that we can...
The crow is still with you. The crow
was with us the whole... Okay. Then she would...
Well, then come.
Yeah, that would be lovely. Maybe Linda can give us some ideas.
And he flies ahead of you, so basically there are now more buildings, and then you come to something that is, the buildings have lights on, and the buildings are all human-sized, and then you come to what is best described as a marketplace. It's got a fountain, there is water sprouting from it, and then the crow lands on the fountain, and it says to you, or he says to you, what was the name again?
Linda Savage.
He straightens up, clears his throat, opens his beak, and in a loud voice shouts, Linda Savage, I ask you to step forth. And he repeats it 3 times. And then he takes flight and flies around, and then he lands in front of you and he says, she's coming. And from your right side, you hear footsteps and you see Linda.
The question is,
she looks at you.
She recognizes
Alice?
Yes.
What are you doing here? I mean, not that I'm not happy to see you, but I didn't realize you were a dreamer.
We are not. We are here to look for you.
For me?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Multiple reasons. You disappeared in the desert. Everyone assumed the worst.
It wasn't meant to happen this way.
But the main reason to go here, we've seen you walking through paintings. And you looked quite in distress.
Yes. I was looking for Nightmare. She's missing.
How did you manage to go through paintings, and how in a way that we could see you?
I didn't know you could see me because I didn't see you. I was trying to get into Cairo.
We've seen that. You ended in the opium den.
Yes, and it worked. But I couldn't stay. It only worked for a couple of minutes.
What worked?
To be there.
In our
because
world
we cannot
again.
leave.
Yeah, you cannot leave.
Yes, because we can't leave. I didn't realize. I thought I had found a way to look for Nightmare in your world. But I got sucked back in. Because you see, I have noticed that they have paintings here that are exactly the same as the Mona Lisa is here. And I'm pretty sure it's her.
That explains why. Lagrange is also a dreamer. He must be around here, painting.
Of course he is. As is Da Vinci. I can tell you, Leonardo, he's a very interesting man.
Well, we can see that based on what he left for us. And that's probably just a little presentative of what is really happening in his head. Genius brain.
I got to talk to him. He's giving me drawing lessons.
That is amazing. I am honestly glad to see that you were not eaten by a crocodile.
It wasn't meant to be like this.
Things happen like they happen.
It was my own fault. I took too much.
As we suspected.
I would have died.
So they offered you. Well, it's a good choice. I'm glad that you can still do art and learn.
I will never be able to go back though.
I understand.
And I didn't want to leave Peter. Not Peter, Thomas. It wasn't meant to happen like this.
Well, when we're back, we will have another eye and see how Thomas is doing.
I would say tell him to be happy, but I think it's going to be a long time until he can be.
Yes, I suspect so too. But that explains why we've seen you in the pictures. Well, at least I got the experience to visit an opium den once in my life. Never again.
She looks at you really concerned. She takes both your hands and she says, "You must promise me never to use. Ever."
I will never use opium ever. I can promise you that.
It destroyed me. It nearly killed me. It did kill me.
We were there to see if you were in real life in the opium den. That's why I was there, to see if we could find you there.
She hangs her head and she shakes it.
You didn't know that we could see you, so you didn't even know what you caused on our side. Well, It brought us here. Now we know. We can go back home and see if we can find her. I've no idea where she is.
What makes you think she is where you are?
She's not here, obviously.
No.
So our world is the closest option.
I just wonder how she's faring. She must be so afraid.
Then she fits right into our world, doesn't she? We can only try to keep our eyes and ears open. Since I'm very good in nightmares, maybe by fate we will meet her and find her.
She's not maybe like you think she is.
Well, I suspect she's quite similar to her sister.
She's older.
Okay.
She's maybe 20. Well, I mean, they're both not 8 and 20.
No, looking 20. And I suspect rather probably dark hair instead of blonde.
How did you guess?
Well, Nightmare has always the touch of the night and a little bit of dark.
Yeah, she does have dark hair.
And she seems to be beautiful as far as we learned.
She is very, very beautiful. She's also a very sweet person. And I'm pretty sure she must miss her sister terribly. I would not be surprised if she was sitting somewhere in your world crying, looking for a way to get back, possibly frantically so.
It's a question if the way how we got here would work for her as well.
I would actually want to know how she managed to escape. And, well, escape? How did she leave in the first place? She would never leave her sister. I think somebody must... I don't know. I mean, to me this sounds like somebody took her, but I can't imagine who.
Yeah, I honestly
Or
think
how.
the same, that someone took her. There are other deities out there. Maybe someone wanted to hurt Dream, or wanted to cause trouble. Someone enjoying people having nightmares. We don't know.
Well, this is what I'm afraid of, because without Dream, Nightmare must be causing nightmares, and pardon the pun.
Well, nightmares have always been around, even when she was not in our world.
Yeah, but the two of them temper each other.
Not in the latest. At least not for me, but well.
Is she close to you?
I don't think so. Why should she?
I don't know.
Looking at Dottie, the three sisters would not, would they?
Kidnap Nightmare? I don't think so.
They are the only ones meddling with me.
Linda looks at you. The three sisters?
Mm-hmm.
Who are they?
Oh god, let me find it. We had too long of a break. My brain threw out all the names, all the things. Was something with A in the beginning, were they called?
Astarte.
Thank you. Oh, the Astarte, the three sisters. Not sure if they're...
You have met Astarte.
Well, two of them. One is still missing.
You have met a god. Well, two.
And annoyed the living hell out of them, yes.
Linda smiles and she says, I mean, you are just something else.
Sadly so.
No, I mean that as a compliment.
Yeah.
You struck me as a very interesting person when I first met you, and now I learned that you are...
Not by choice, and I really don't enjoy it. But, well, one of them helped Peter to get through his literal nightmare.
Peter? Peter Frampton?
Yeah.
What happened to him?
Well, he went to war and never came back whole. He had nightmares every day of his life, I suspect, about this. What he's seen. And she took that from him. He looked much better last time I've seen him. That was the night where you vanished as well. So a lot happened at the same time. But I don't know if the three would mangle with this. They generally seem bored and need entertainment.
Bored and need entertainment. Well,
I'm glad, as I said, glad to see you're here in a good place and not in the belly of a crocodile.
no. Far from it.
And next time I'm standing in Paris in front of the Mona Lisa, I will have to see if I see someone in the painting. We will tell the Queen what we know. Maybe she has an idea who could leave and enter without anyone knowing. And
Do that.
we will try to get back and see if we can find her there.
I hope you do.
I hope for all of us.
Yes. Because your world will be lost as will be ours. Because we're not sure, but some say that they believe the dream is dying.
Well, she looks at least very heartbroken and sad. Rightfully so. Let's see what we can do.
Godspeed.
Thank you.
Thank you. And the raven is basically sitting there and kind of like, where to next? Where to next?
Back to the boat.
Follow me. And he flies. Interestingly enough, what you notice is you feel neither hungry nor thirsty, nor do you feel tired.
She would call up to the crow. I never asked your name.
He lands in front of you and he says, Titus.
Titus, that's a good name. I'm Alice. This is Dottie, and this is Maeve the Great.
He bows to each one of you. And then he takes flight again and he flies ahead of you to the pier where you see the ship. And here we will leave it for tonight.
Great! Thank you for the lovely story. And a little bit of, as weird as everything and horrific in the end everything is, still a little bit of a happy place for Alice, weirdly enough.
I'm glad.
I'm sorry for Dottie, because this is not her happy place. And then I'm really curious.
We will see where we go next with this.
I go back to Lady Jane's house.
And we shall see next time where we will end up. And we would like to thank all of our patrons and everyone who's watching this, listening to this. I hope you enjoyed it, and keep safe, everybody.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.